Hello, and Aotearoa viewers. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Strategy. Today, I'm joined by Yash Kapoor, the founder and CEO of Innovate Now, a consultancy helping Kiwi businesses and founders build smarter digital strategies. Yash is not only an accomplished entrepreneur, but also a strategic thinker who blends innovation, technology, and storytelling to drive growth and transformation. Yash, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Right. Thanks, Ankur. Thank you so much. And thanks for such an amazing introduction. And can you write that and send it to me?
So,
Would help. No, thanks for the kind words.
awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. Lovely. So let's quickly jump onto our question answer session. As you know, we have five segments that we'll run. So the segment
Yeah.
number one is the strategy behind the journey. So the first question is, tell us about your journey. Like, what inspired you to start Innovate Now?
What inspired me? There are two prongs to it in terms of what inspired me. So, at a personal level and at a professional level. At a personal level, I think it was always that sense of creativity and ownership, and more in terms of the joy that you get in terms of conceptualizing something and bringing it to fruition and seeing that grow. So that's kind of very rewarding. I think, yes, it brings material benefits and whatnot, but I think that that journey of you have started this thing, you're going out there, putting yourself out there, and people are believing you, that's a very satisfying experience. And I've always been a person who likes doing that. That gives me a lot of things. I get very kind of feel very satisfied and accomplished when the work that we have done actually adds value. So when we started looking from a lens of uh, what do we need to do in terms of bring this to market and what do we actually do for our businesses, and we looked at a great wide space uh, across both Australia and New Zealand in a way of the productivity loss that we suffer in our economy, lack of technology adoption. And I don't think it was because of intent in a way. I know there's that Kiwi mindset of she'll be all right. But if you look at it, there's always this point of view of we don't know what we don't know. And that was generally limited to very large enterprises, big consultancy firm. So the goal was how do we simplify this for small businesses or medium sized businesses? How do we kind of still be able to share our knowledge and skills and help these businesses grow?
Love it. That's a great start. Thank you for that. The
Yeah.
next question is kind of routing to the same direction. Like, at what stage did you understand that this idea can actually become something big?
Yeah. So the idea, this was going on for quite some time. I used to do this long time ago in terms of in my personal capacity and originally started as a side hustle and just enjoyed doing that. But I think it around 2.5 years ago, it was coming to that point in my personal career and my journey that I actually think that there's a lot of potential in the work we do. And if we can bring that to life, really bring the values that we live by and kind of go out to market, there is a potential of bringing in our business knowledge with some great technology and simplifying things for businesses. So I think that was kind of a trigger point for me to say that now it's kind of time that there is enough demand, enough kind of uh, market size that I would say is out there for me to kind of go and make a mark and do that. It was quite tough because of the we were starting a business in a recessionary market, but the the thought was that if it's tough for everyone, and we kind of do the hard yards right now, and then we'll ride the wave up.
Love it. And the next is like, in terms of, because as you mentioned that it was around the pandemic that you understood that okay, this can be something. What were those early decisions or strategic decisions that you thought that okay, this will definitely align to what I am visualizing with the picture of Innovate Now?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to I think positioning quite a bit in terms of how you position yourself, how you position your brand, and kind of those early decisions that you make. Uh, but to be very honest, when you start and your strategy and then the first few months would be rather than more in terms of profitability, it should be more about credentializing yourself. So making sure that you get people trusting you, people getting you to do work, and then you're delivering them successfully. It is not just from point of view of kind of you getting some runs on the board, building your network, but also kind of sense of confidence and building, trusting your team that yes, we can kind of do that. I think those strategic decisions that and breaking it down into smaller chunks for us to say what do we accomplish in next 3 months, what do we do in next 6 months, and what are we kind of evolving our business to be. We obviously couldn't target, and we didn't want to target the largest of customers. It was not because of skill or capacity. It was purely that are we equipped to go on that journey for them for 12 months, 18 months decision cycles? So that was kind of very critical to know how do we position ourselves? Who do we target to begin with? Like, where do we start and where do we stop? And when you begin, that's a very big sort of window. You don't know, have you narrowed it down to that particular what you call ideal customer profile and personas and whatnot. Uh, Someone asked me who was your ideal customer, and first similar sort of question. My response was anyone with pulse and money. Simple terms. If you kind of and you're willing to work with me, and there's a problem to solve, we'll do that. And it's kind of not being precious about it that stage. But if you get stuck in that mindset and you never come out of that, and you clearly can't strategically think that am I equipped to handle this segment of customer, this kind of industry, is there potential in this? That's when you get stuck. So I think that positioning and being very, very observant around what type of customer is responding to you is going to be where it's very critical in early stages.
Makes sense. 100% makes sense. And
Yeah.
that kind of drives to our next segment as well, which is building brand, which you were briefly mentioning about, and scaling impact. So the first question in this is how do you position Innovate Now in New Zealand and Australia's markets, evolving business and tech-led landscape as well?
Yeah. So we obviously did a few mistakes as well in terms of our positioning, and then we learned from that quite quickly. Um, I think originally when we looked at, we started with being very product centric rather than being kind of outcome centric. That we know this product, we do them really well, we have a lot of experience with them. Because that was kind of a strong base of knowing that we have achieved something up. That's what we went with. And I think when we started to learn from our customers and learn from the team, we started kind of working through how do we how do we bring this to life? How do we kind of position in that way? And the the thought process immediately changed to be very outcome focused and technology agnostic in a way. And we started questioning our customers in a way as well that why do you need this? What are you trying to achieve in working with us? And what outcomes are you looking to drive? Because we don't want to give you something that's really not going to work for you. You will struggle, we will fail to deliver, and the platform provider will be at loss as well. So we just wanted to make sure that we spend enough time and that ability and that confidence to evaluate and to say no was very refreshing for people. That we were not saying that, yeah, that will happen and going feature after feature and whatnot. And we were taking our own time to assess the work that was coming to us as well, to have the kind of certainty to deliver that, because that's quite important. Um, so that opportunity of that thorough assessment with our customers, genuinely working with them to say, what is the core outcome? Is what the decisions that you're making fit for purpose?
Mhm.
Um, and have you done some pre-work around your kind of core drivers for this, outcomes, processes, and things like that? And then we'll come to technology. Don't start your thinking looking from a product or feature. Start from outcomes, break it down into kind of smaller chunks for your teams, your people, and then you go out there and look what is the right technology that works for you. So that's kind of where it kind of shifted the dial for us quite a bit. Few of our biggest customers came after when we said no. We got the work of saying, okay, then find us what works for us. It's like, okay, good. And we are now partners with those solutions because we knew that that was a good product for them. So yeah, that's how we got it.
That's awesome. And I heard a brief accentuation on value creation as well when you mentioned about customers, bringing their problem and you wanted to identify why they want to solve that. So based on that, now as an entrepreneur yourself, what's that one business principle that you would apply to both your customers, which is your clients, and internally as well?
I think one thing that we would say is just be honest in a way. And it seems very simple. If people put a lot of emphasis on this is what is in scope and this is how it needs to work, this is what the functionality is, and just kind of it gets too complicated for people to just work through, and we try to safeguard ourselves with these legal mechanisms and whatnot. And they're absolutely necessary. I'm not saying they're not necessary, but sometimes what it takes is just having an honest conversation with the stakeholder, the business owner, uh, that this is what the issue is, and this is how what we are trying to achieve. This is the impact on us, and this is the impact on you. Can we find a middle ground? And I think if we go with that approach, that give them the justification that where we're going to take a hit and where what will be the impact on you works quite well, especially in terms of what we do. And that is being the core driver. Secondly, never shy away from if you've done a mistake on it. And it's it's human to make. There's no business that is perfect. We kind of 5-star reviews and whatnot. You can buy a lot of those. And with what we do is complex. We deal with complexity. We're trying to solve those problems, and we deal with really complicated solutions as well. And it's impossible for any one individual or a team to know everything about it and learn at a very rapid pace. So sometimes we are learning as much about the business, about the product as well, and trying different things. Uh, so if we have not got it right, just call it to say, hey, this was on us. This is what the plan is to fix it. And just having that kind of honest conversation across the table, across the screen with the key people, and just finding a solution. That's kind of what's core principle that I believe is extremely important.
Honesty is simplicity. So love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Next is what's your approach to helping founders and businesses like build digital strategies that actually work?
Yeah, so that's a very, very interesting question, Ankur, I would say, because what we are seeing is there are very different sort of mindsets right now. Uh, I think we need to balance it. And I'll give you an example. We are going with whether it's new or mature founders and business owners, they're jumping from one step to 100 step very quickly, particularly in the area of technology. So they currently don't have anything, and now they want AI to solve every problem in the world. And they miss kind of 50, 60 steps in between. And then there are businesses and founders who are becoming overly protective around kind of, we need to have that control and whatnot. So I think what it comes down to is, and it's simple principles. It's like that problem identification is in terms of what is the problem that you're trying to solve here? Does it kind of exist and whatnot? And just kind of not keeping that in your mind in a way that how do you actually go out there? It doesn't matter how crazy or simple that idea is that you're working through, but learn from what kind of parallel industries where you're seeing those examples. Sometimes it feels that we can't reach out to those people or when we are at risk or something, but a lot of parallels teach you a lot. Uh, and don't form that view that we are unique very quickly. That it's until unless you're discovering kryptonite and building something that cures cancer, you're not that unique. Like if you look at a few of the most unique businesses out there, it's gonna be SpaceX sending people to Mars. And there are 10 companies that are now competing to do that. So if that's not unique, you're not unique. Uh, Learn from parallels. Just reach out, have that conversation with someone. Don't immediately jump onto that pitch mode in a way that this is kind of what features and whatnot is. Just kind of understand the business of business before you go down the technology route and fix that. So that's very important for people to understand that what are the mechanics behind running that startup, that how do you take that to market, and having those clear principles around yourself is going to just amplify your growth. It's if you don't have those principles, if you don't have that knowledge, find it, seek help. There are plenty of resources out there, or partner. That's kind of where what it comes down to.
So, do you believe more on collaborations than on competition?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's where it's, you just can't do everything by yourself, and neither should you. In terms of, there are obviously cross functional skills that we need sometime, different sort of technologies that we are not aware of, and we believe who's a good provider out there, we definitely collaborate with them. And it all comes back to you. Sometimes it takes a bit of an attempt to find those people who operate at that same wavelength with you. But I'm sure if you look at mature businesses, like serious businesses who have seen this cycle, who've been in the market for quite some time, have what I call the bruises of different projects. They know you can't do everything, you can't work through everything. And even if you look at like an organization, when you run, when you grow it, you start with by doing everything. You're the salesperson, you're the HR, you're kind of operations and whatnot. You can very well continue like that. It's not gonna stop you from running, and you will sell what you sell, you'll do what you do, but you're not gonna grow at that pace. Now, while these collaborators, yes, there could be commercial agreements and whatnot, consider that be as part of your extended team sometimes. That who can I partner with here that actually will help me grow? And we partner with possibly a lot of people. Majority of our business comes through collaboration now. So it's kind of advisors, consultants who have seen more pain points within the businesses that we are not, and they are at the forefront and have a direct ear to stakeholders. And they become the problem identifier for us sometimes. So this is kind of where we collaborate a lot, and build that trust with people. So absolutely, you can't operate without collaboration, in my opinion.
Love it. Thank you so much. That brings us to the third segment, which is innovation, tech, and future trends. So, the first question in this is, how is technology, especially AI and automation, which is the current buzzwords, changing the consulting space?
Uh, Quite rapidly, actually. It is. I I don't consider AI to be a buzzword anymore. I know it's been used so many times that it just seems like a buzzword. Um, it's I made a joke some time ago that the most amount of money that has been made by people is actually by influencers of AI than actually companies of AI. It's just there's so many out there. I am an AI idiot, and I call myself an idiot because you learn something today and by tomorrow it will change. It's from a consulting lens, there is a lot of potential out there in terms of consulting. So if you look at what consultants do, they have this mindset of looking at problems in a different way. They have certain sort of methodologies, frameworks that can be applied and to come, which have been proven across different thought schools, business schools, and whatnot. And that comes out. And their ability of that domain knowledge was there. And the two parts of that can be quite easily, when I say easily, I use that word lightly, that can be optimized using AI, which is looking at that knowledge bases, building kind of domain knowledges and that frameworks that can be consumed. But I think the use of consultants now become that how can they optimize their thinking and their creativity by leveraging these tools, and how they can kind of deliver their services at scale. And I think it's a great opportunity in the area of consulting to be able to offer your services multifold, leveraging AI and creating unique versions of AI that represent you, represent your thinking. And you're the one who's governing it to say, hey, this is kind of how I respond. This is kind of how I would have solved those problems. And just making yourself available. If you look at a fundamental of a consulting business, we don't have any stock. We don't have any products. We don't. uh, The two things that we sell is our skill and our time. That's what we do. Our job is to acquire skill. You can consume as many skills that you want. You can't make time. That's the only thing in the world that's linear and limited. So if you can exponentially find time either to do the things that you like doing and getting more skills, or making yourself available with more time is what your growth will look like. And that's how you can kind of consulting can really leverage that. I think the risk is the over reliance on consult kind of AI and people not understanding that. So we kind of do consulting and execution both. We basically say we consult and we execute. Slightly different. But when we say to our clients in a way that yes, you can ask these questions to an AI, but the art here is to what to ask and how to check. Anyone can do that. Similarly, for a developer, I can ask AI to write a code, but it's what about what code and how to check. That's the skill, and that's what consultants bring to the table.
So that's quite a fresh perspective. I'll definitely take that into account. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Awesome. The next question is now, how do you stay ahead strategically in a field that's always evolving?
Be curious. Be absolutely curious, and just I am actually enjoying it. I've been always been a lifelong learner, and I'm with technology. I'm like a 5 year old in a toy shop, which sometimes takes a lot of time away from me as well. But I'm kind of an early adopter, seeing how things do. Yeah. So it's, as I said, it's just curiosity in a way, and just being that learner mindset throughout. And I think in any profession, if you look at, and now I think it's more relevant than ever, that there's a huge need of unlearning and learning new things what we've done. The way we have existed, the way we have created professions, industries, and whatnot is changing quite rapidly. And I think where I genuinely believe where we are living right now is kind of an era of abundance, abundance of knowledge. The limitation is on us right now, what we want to learn. How do we want to stay ahead? The limitation is not on time, technology, and whatnot. I can go and create an AI agent that tells me how you set up a cloud server or how do you kind of do finances and whatnot. There's no, I can get the fundamentals from it. So there's the ability to be educating yourself continuously and that hunger that where do I go and find those resources. And also I think that the conventional method of learning is changing quite rapidly. Like the whole structural way of going to university, doing that, and kind of spending structured way of 14 years at school, 4 years of university. And I think all of that is getting now challenged. I think the way of learning, in my opinion, now, and especially as I say right now, is learning and doing and doing it continuously. And that has to be with you throughout in a way. So yes, the normal ways of consuming that are finding events and talking to people, building our network, that will always be there. But it all starts with where do I go and looking for that information and what do I actually want to learn? Where am I struggling? So for us, the issue, as you rightly said, is that it's an ever evolving world. It's incredibly hard to keep up with what gets announced every day from kind of AI perspective. Technology businesses are popping up like I don't even have an analogy for that. Everyone has a SaaS platform now or an AI chatbot. Uh, so it's very hard to keep up in a way and filter that noise self. So the more you educate yourself around this concepts and build awareness to be holding smart conversations and educated conversations is quite critical. So just go back and imagine that I'm at university or I'm a student and I just want to consume the knowledge as I can. Become a student again.
100%. Love that. Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Lovely. That brings us to the next segment, which is strategic collaborations and community. So the first question in this is now, can we briefly talked about that you love collaborations more than competitions. So this question is kind of in that direction. That can you share a collaboration that accelerated for Innovate Now?
Quite a few actually. I think we have few partners. As I said, we do work with multi-skill consultant firms, and there's a firm that we work with, Aotearoa, and that's kind of been a big supporter and collaborator with us in a way. And we found value alignment quite quickly in terms of their approach of how they deliver their services, being very process driven, being very structured in that way. And that's kind of something that aligns well with us. And when we both collectively have looked at a problem that's been kind of immensely useful, and bringing that problem solving skills and kind of broad structured skills from that firm has been quite useful. This, I would say, that is going one of them. Second one is obviously the product partnerships that we hold. Um, those partners, those large firms have trusted us with giving us those kind of credentials and badges, and having the trust in us to say when we go out there, we are doing the right job by them and by their customers to get the return on investment people are seeking for these sort of projects and SaaS platforms and whatnot. And the I think the level of complexity that you can handle in these sort of scenarios and make sure that there's a high level of receptiveness of these solutions works well for both parties. And that's where we have seen with some of the SaaS providers that we work with, we have taken a very different approach sometimes. And similarly, as I said, finding the right fit. And that's been very well received by these SaaS providers as well to say, we actually want to make sure that we are the right fit. We don't want to sell on to customers on pricing and features and widgets. We want to make sure that customers really get value from what they're buying. So you taking this approach and coming to us saying that we have validated it, we know we have a problem statement, we have a clear solution, and it's going to work for the customers, gives us a high level of confidence. And that kind of from their side, they do make an effort in supporting us. So I think these two from a large business level and kind of on the ground level have been great collaborations for us to get some success.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the next is, could you share one common strategy mistakes you see among founders, and how can they avoid that as well?
Oh yeah, quite a few. I possibly would have done last 2 hours. I would have done a few. I think the most common mistake is too many good ideas. I think this is where us as founders and entrepreneurs, there's no shortage of ideas. I think we look at a problem and we come out with that and five different solutions and we start pursuing them rapidly, and because we know potential, we know all of that, and it's simple in our mind. We can come up with a solution, we can come up with a go to market plan very quickly, and sometimes we stretch ourselves too thin doing that. And the simple way to look at this is what gets focused gets done. So the more focused you are at the beginning, the more you control your mind to say, I need to say no to this. This is noise. This is keeping me away from what my strategy is, what I'm looking to drive, what my core deliverables goal are for next 3 6 months or whatever period you have for yourself to monitor your performance. I think that's extremely critical, uh, because it's a hard act to balance, say, kill your creativity and just become very siloed, which is against an entrepreneurship thinking and that mindset, and to have the ability to kind of jump on everything. So it's a very hard act, and people need to bring that discipline to say, how do you validate this thought, this idea in your mind? That is it going to be aligned with where you want to be, or is it a completely different direction? And come to that conclusion very, very quickly.
Makes sense. 100%.
Yeah.
Another question on this aspect is, now since Innovate Now has established itself, and obviously you've gained so much experience working as an entrepreneur, what advice that you'd like to share the future consulting aspirants as well? What would that be?
Uh, Gain confidence and go solo. Don't wait. Don't wait. The more you wait, I think that's one. Jokes apart, I think I always encourage people to build that confidence and kind of trying it themselves. I know there's a risk of you saying, "What if I fail? So what?" Not the end of the world. You fail, you learn, and you move on. I've failed so many times. I possibly would have a bookshelf somewhere to say collected in, but that's how you kind of grow. If you kind of you're not trying that, if you're not working through that, take a risk, especially in early ages of your life. Just kind of build your confidence. This is what I'm good at. and go out there and start building something for yourself. That's kind of would be one for me. And also find a way to make sure that your advice can be executed. So we've seen this a lot of times. A lot of nice strategy ideas just live in presentations, nice PDFs, a lot of post-its on the wall, beautiful murals. Good. Nothing comes out of it. Take the ownership of execution of your strategy or your advice. How you do that, like I say, so this is kind of an example of partnerships that we have built. Those partners have taken the responsibility of executing on their advice. So that is where you see that in action. You see that what you actually consulted on, is it really working? Is it delivering those outcomes that the client wanted from the engagement or the advice we gave them? So the more you find that, the better your value will be received by the client because you now have delivered on that. And it's just not sitting in those fancy presentation bags that AI creates now. It's just now it's a tangible result that you've delivered.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Awesome. That brings us to the last segment, Yash. This has been so wonderful so far. So, the last round is the rapid fire round.
Oh,
Ready?
okay.
And quick. Okay. So, the first one is one productivity hack that works wonder for you.
To-do list.
Awesome. The next one is a founder or business that you admire right now.
Founder of a business that I admire right now. There's a founder in Australia who founded Up Bank. It's a complicated name. I don't remember his name, but I admire that bank like anything. It's a first neobank, and amongst very few that have actually become successful. Uh, it is just a lot of people think of those ideas and those creativity, but that company has delivered it. So that's kind of one company and founded. It's a team that I really look up to.
Awesome. The next is the most Indo Kiwi thing about your workday.
Uh, a double shot flat white to start with is the most Kiwi thing that I'll do in the morning. Uh, Possibly. Um, no, I think that's it about. And then it's I don't know the difference now. I've been here so long. I think I majority of my, as I say, sensible life have been here. So we are Indians, but I've worked here. So for me, finding the difference between Indo Kiwi is very hard because I can't really compare against. I used to work in India, but I haven't kind of seen that much difference. Then the normal complaints are there. The market is slow and the growth is not there, but that's okay. It's kind of we need to accept New Zealand for what it is.
100%. And we love both
Yeah,
flat white and strong chai. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. The last is coffee, food, code, or conversation. What keeps you going?
Coffee. Sorry, what was the second one?
Coffee, food, code, or conversation.
Conversation, right?
Oh,
Conversation. Absolutely, absolutely. Conversation can be with coffee, but conversation. Yeah, that's the biggest stimulant. Talking to people.
awesome. That has been amazing. Yes, this brings us to the end of our show. Thank you once again for joining Let's Talk Strategy. Your journey with Innovate Now shows how clarity, creativity, and strategy empower both businesses and the people behind them. And also, Stratmate is really, really, really happy to learn a lot from you as well. So, thank you so much for being here.
Nah, thank you so much for the invite, and thanks for making it kind of very engaging for me as well. And uh, thanks for kind of listening to my thoughts.
Lovely. Awesome. Also, to our viewers, if you like this episode, do not forget to subscribe, share, and follow Let's Talk Strategy on YouTube, Spotify, and other Stratmate channels. Until next time, keep thinking, keep learning, keep building, and keep talking strategy. This is Let's Talk Strategy. Thank you.